6 hours of work for 5 seconds of animation. There's just one question. Why did it take so long? Hello. So to not let you wait on the answer, I'm gonna give you a small summary. The main reasons why this took forever are: first, I didn't have a plan for this scene, just a vague idea, and I pretty much tried things out and went along with anything that was okay in my eyes. Second, the background was layered and there was architecture in it, so it was more complex than the things that I'm used to draw. And third, I tried to meet the middle of two conflicting ideas. On the one hand, I wanted a lively and realistic city, and on the other, I still cared about time constraints and simplicity. So I always went back and forth trying to fill it with elements and then deleting them because they took too long. Yes, this is if you want a longer explanation of what exactly I did, here it is, video, but it's also something else. In my first Final Fantasy X project video, I said that I'd give some info from time to time on how far I am with the project and other little update stuff about it. So this is also that. If you're interested, stay tuned. So how did I begin this whole thing? I didn't really know how to start at first. I don't usually draw architecture, so I was just going step by step after the instructions of how to draw Dragon Ball. Yeah, I'm using that a lot. And I really gotta do a video about that book. The instructions said to draw a horizon line and a focus point from which every line starts. And I did. With that, it was quite easy to get the right angles on some simple architecture. But sometimes they felt off, and that's when I went with my instinct. At first, I actually tried to begin with a sketch of the kind of architecture that I wanted to have, but soon I discovered that with the line tool, it's easier to just start from scratch instead of sketching it first. So that's what I did for a while. I tried some forms and things, like some pillars, and I always looked at some reference material to not stray too far away from what Xanarkand looks like. After the lines were done, I filled in some random colors that I thought fitting for the structures. Then I suddenly felt the urge to put a mannequin behind that window, but I was too lazy to draw it myself, so I just stole it like the thief that I am, and just outlined it. And with the background behind the mannequin, the next phase started. In this one I drew lights and shadows, and colorful details and writings on the walls, and the streets, and actually on everything. I'm not a great painter, so I just did some basic stuff. Still, this phase alone took about 2.5 hours. It took hours. After that I had a little adventure with Adobe Lightroom, trying to give the picture more of a summer vibe. But I just didn't feel it, so I left Lightroom and hopped back onto Paint Tool Sai. Hope he's doing okay. I painted some citizens so it doesn't look like a complete ghost town, but it didn't seem to get better. It kinda looked even more depressing. But nonetheless, I went with it, and in the last step, I drew the fishy looking high-speed train and put everything in my editing program. It took about 5 different layers of pictures overlapped, one being the background, then the train, then the video on the monitor, and the foreground, and the people on top. Then I just got my train to move, and at the end I changed the train picture for another one with a green light instead of a red one. And that was it. More than 6 hours of my life I'll never get back. So why did I use these layers? Well, because reality is also layered. You have things that are up front and things that are further behind. And how else could you draw them if not with layers? So if you at least take the idea of a layered background with you, and you don't leave this video empty-handed, I'm happy. Now getting to the question of how far I am with the project, I am definitely at the beginning of it still, but as of now I have a total of 32 seconds of animation. Starting this, I thought the whole thing would be 1 or 2 minutes, but seeing how few scenes I got done and knowing how much I still want to do, this project will much rather be about 2 to 4 minutes long. Still, the time I'll need for it will stay in the same ballpark. I'm positive I'll end it this year sometime, but I just don't know when. But whenever it's done, you know where to find it, so see you next time when we again get great together.